Hello everyone. I was initially writing this blog post about this app that I found called AdditioApp, and I was trying to describe all the great things about it, but it really got very wordy, and I felt like it was too hard for people to visualize, so instead of writing about it, I've decided to show you. So welcome to AdditioApp. This is our home screen, and it's always going to show up as today. So right now, because I don't have anything in my calendar for today, it shows up as nothing. But I can click on yesterday or tomorrow, and it would show me what I have in my calendar for those days. So one of the reasons I really enjoy this app is because of how easy it is to create a class or a group. So the way you do that is you come up to, this is the home screen button in the left-hand corner, and under today you see groups. And I have made a couple of classes. I've made AP Biology and Anatomy and Physiology, and they have an example already set up for a mathematics class. So I already made those, but I'm going to show you how you would make a group. You click on groups, and you can see these are the groups I already have, but if you want to add a group, all you do is you click this nice big plus button at the bottom of the screen, put in the name, when the class is starting, your class timetables. It gives you some other options like, do you want your student pictures to be shown if you go to this group? Do you want a certain color associated with this group in your calendar? Things like that. So I'm just going to cancel out of that actually, and we're going to go straight into one of the groups that I've already created. So here we are in AP Biology. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is your class list on the left-hand side of the screen. So I already created, a dream class for AP Biology with everyone from Gregor Mendel to Sally Ride. So if we wanted to add another student, all I have to do again, click that big plus at the bottom. You can add all the information, an ID number from your school, their address, phone number, birthday, contact information, and you click here to upload a file. If you ever wanted to remove a student, you click Actions and say Remove Student from Group. I want to draw your attention really quickly to these two here. It says Contact with Student and Contact with the Responsible, which would be the student's parent or guardian. Now, these are great features, but I don't have access to them because you need to purchase the next level up of this system. So a lot of apps provide ways for you to send messages to students and parents, and this does as well. I just don't have access to it on my free trial. So I'm going to cancel out of this, and we are going to look at the way I have set up my AP Biology class. So one of the great things about this is you can truly set it up to whichever way makes most sense to you. So the way I decided to set it up is, if you look over at these tabs on the right-hand side, I have the class set up by unit. So if I'm teaching AP Biology and we finished our genetics unit and we've moved on to the evolution unit, I would click evolution. So every grade from the evolution unit, every activity, anything that I wanted recorded would be here. But if I wanted to look back and see, I wonder how they did on that presentation in the genetics unit, I could go back here. And I can integrate all three of them into a final grade, and all of them can be calculated together. Then below these tabs that you've created, there's some set tabs. So the first one is going to be your attendance tab. So here we are, and the green dot clearly indicates that the student was present. However, there's a few other options. All you have to do is click on the green dot. I can show that they were here, they were absent, tardy, a justified absence, a justified tardiness, or an expulsion. So you can change it at any time, and you can just add a day. So every day I come in and I need to add a new day. So I click the plus sign, and I have it set to a default that says every student is here unless I say otherwise, because I feel like there's going to be less students absent than there are already present, so less clicking. So I have them all set, but instead, you know what, Marie Curie's been absent for 3 days in a row. She's sick, so I'm going to make her absent again. And another great feature is the summary of their attendance. So if I click on Marie Curie here, you can see that she's been absent 75% of the days we've been in class. And it breaks it down into all the different categories. So that's a cool feature about your attendance. Below the attendance is another icon that actually is a place for you to put your lesson plans. So I have an example over here. It's not a completely filled out lesson plan, but so it's for AP Biology. Your top section is for your learning objectives. You have a place to attach any resources. So you can see over here, I have an attachment. So if I click on that, I have a genetics worksheet. Click and it's going to bring up that genetics worksheet. So that's a place for attachments. And below that, you have activities. I have a family pedigree project activity, and there's even a space for you to put in follow-up information. So you can do this in a week setting like it is right now, or in a unit setting. So below that icon, we have this little pencil, and this is your notes icon. So any note that you have for cell biology, or excuse me, for my AP biology class can be made here. So for example, I made a note about Rosalind Franklin and her cell model project. So I will only see my AP biology notes in this section. But there's a place that I'll show you later where I can see any note that I've created for any class all in one place. Below, oh yeah, and if you click on this, you can edit, modify anything you need to do. And below your notes, you have your group planning and events section. So if you're going to be integrating multiple groups or multiple classes, you can show it all together here. And this final one is where you would have any of your group resources that you wanted all groups to be able to access. So we're going to go back to the genetics, and we're going to look a little bit at this little icon that you see beside some names. Up here in the right hand corner, you see this icon, and it matches down here. So if I click that icon, I actually will generate a name. And so you can see that once I've clicked it before, and I've already had Gregor Mendel, Charles Darwin, James Watson, they've all come up. And this is a generator to help me pick on students that don't normally get called on maybe. So maybe if you favor one student, instead of just like calling at random what you think is at random, you can click on that icon and it will generate a new student for you. So I can see that I haven't called on Rosalind Franklin or Rachel Carson or Louis Pasteur. So it's just a way to help you generate a more even look at your students. So another thing I want to show you is if I click on that little icon where the family pedigree project is, I have it linked straight to the learning objective. And that is another place you can access that. So I want to show you another way that you can set up this page actually. So if I go to the mathematics example that Additio has on their website, you can see that they have their tab set up to show exam activities, attitude, and final grade. So there are different ways you can set it up. It's all about your preference. So if we go to our main menu, there's a few other things here. So our timetable, this is where you would see everything you have all in one place. So if I scroll to a week that I actually have something scheduled, you can see that I would see all of my classes, and I only have 2 classes put in here right now. But this is where you can see everything in one place. Same goes for your planning. It's just another place for you to see all of your lesson plans together. So I would see anatomy and physiology right next to AP biology. Your marks and rubrics is a really interesting feature because you can grade people in a few different ways. You can select 0 to 10, 0 to 100. You can do letter grades. You can do icons like a happy face, a frowny face. So there's different options there, but you can also create rubrics. So I already created a rubric just to save time, and it's in oral presentation. So I can click in here and I can add anything I want if I want to make this description any more complete. And then you can attach it to a particular assignment and you can grade in time. So here, this is for an oral presentation. So I'm going to take you back to my, let's go to my anatomy class instead of biology this time. And you can use it anywhere. So let's add an assignment. We're going to add an oral presentation. And mark type, you can do any of these, but instead I'm going to show you another way to do it. You're going to click on rubric, and I want to use the oral presentation rubric, and then I'll click save. So right now, none of the people in my anatomy and physiology class have a grade. But say Victor Frankenstein's giving his presentation, I would just click on that empty space, and I can therefore write in real time which area they received. So for content, he had great content, but it was hard to understand him sometimes, so maybe not as good. Fluency was good, and then you just keep scrolling down, accuracy was wonderful, effort was amazing, and then it automatically grades it. So I have a 9 out of 10. So I click OK, and it gives the grade. So that's a way to do it in real time, which is awesome. The next thing I want to show you is again back on our main screen. So we just looked at our marks and rubrics. If I click on notes, this is where you will see all your integrated notes. So here I have, there's a note from my anatomy and physiology class as well as the note from the cell model project. So that's just a place where you'd see notes all in one spot. Your calendar, this is your integrated calendar. So this is where I would see everything. I would prefer to look at it in terms of month. And you can see that I created classes down here for the last 2 weeks, and there they are in their varying colors and different times, and this would be where you would see it. The last thing I'm going to show you is the reports. A really cool feature about this is that it can be completely linked with Google Classroom. So one of the things I wanted out of an admin app was the ability for students to see their grades, to turn in things online. We want to save some paper. But this app doesn't necessarily allow you to do those things, especially if you're not buying the most expensive version of it. However, it's completely able to be linked with Google Classroom, and Google Classroom does allow you to do those things. And anything you do on the Additio app will automatically be synced with the Google Classroom if you choose that option. So say I had a whole bunch of students and all their assignments have been turned into Google Classroom. It's synced with this, and they will automatically put into my gradebook here, and I can actually create a report about how they did on an assignment or what their attendance records have been. And it's a great way to actually just like visually see how your class is doing. So that is just a little bit about the Additio app. I hope you learned something, and maybe you would be interested in using this in your classroom.